It's time for the draw reveal. We ready to go?
We're ready.
Let's get right to it. Let's start.
How did you get one of those, Chrissie?
What, don't you have a draw?
I guess because you're Chrissie Evert. I guess.
Wait,
no.
all the women have draws. Oh, you
Of
little.
course he has
I
one.
got one here. Well, this is
Sinner's quarter, top half of the draw. Patrick,
the big story is that you've got Sinner, Alcaraz on the same half of the draw. And an even bigger story to me is you've also got Daniil Medvedev in the same section as Sinner. He's now the 5 seed. He's been one of the top 3 or 4 in the last couple of years. So that means it's very top heavy, the men's draw. Of course, you've got Djokovic, this 2 seed on the bottom, along with Zverev. But you see here, you got Alex Mickelson, a couple Americans likely in the way of Sinner. You got Mackenzie McDonald first, Wawrinka, of course, a former champ here, Arthur Fils, a talented Frenchman. Tommy Paul ends up in this section, so he could likely play Sinner if they get to that 4th round matchup.
Okay, keep it in Sinner's quarter. This is the other section of Sinner's quarter of the draw. And Chrissie, who jumps out to you here, this is where you do find Medvedev and Tsitsipas.
Yeah, I don't think Tsitsipas has been, he doesn't historically play that well at the U.S. Open, does he? He really hasn't done that well. Although he did win an exhibition doubles match with his girlfriend, Paula Badosa, the other night. And
Maybe that will propel him.
I think that is going to be motivation for him. But I'm looking down on Medvedev. I think Medvedev, this is pretty comfortable for him, actually. I'm Patrick, unless you're seeing some
very good draw for Medvedev,
yeah.
I would say, to get through this section. Although obviously if Tsitsipas can catch fire, Auger Aliassime, is in there as well. But to me, it's all about Medvedev going to Sinner in the quarterfinals. That could be a final. So that could happen in the quarterfinals here.
So then move on to Carlos Alcaraz. Patrick, you said it, he fell in Sinner's quarter, and this is because Alcaraz is the 3rd seed. Sinner's the 1 seed, Alcaraz is the 3rd, and Djokovic the 2nd seed. So clearly Djokovic on the other half of the draw. Mary Jo, Carlos Alcaraz opens with a qualifier, and that's what's kind of fascinating about today. Some of these players on the court today are going to come back early next week and play Alcaraz. Somebody will do it.
Someone might make a name for themselves. I mean, what an opportunity, thrill of a lifetime to play Carlos Alcaraz. His section's pretty good. Could play Chapo in the 2nd round. That could be entertaining. Jack Draper's dangerous. Big lefty server. I don't know. I like this. Korda has had a great summer. Mute could be a tricky 1st round. He's never been past the 2nd round. Korda at the U.S. Open. Can this be his year? I'd love to see an Alcaraz Korda 4th round.
That's a good draw for Korda, I think, because I think, as you said, Mary Jo, he's never played great here, but he's playing very well this summer, having won DC and played well in Canada. Tabio has been really a story this year. He was outside the top 100 to start the year. Now you can see he's a 22 seed, big Chilean. But I like Korda to get through and challenge Alcaraz in the 4th round. But for, for Alcaraz, other than being in the same half as Sinner, I think he's got to be pretty happy with his part of the draw right here.
So take a look at the rest of Alcaraz's quarter, and I have to agree, Patrick, Hubie Hurkacz, who we saw leave Wimbledon with an injury.
And De Minaur, too.
And De Minaur as well.
Yeah, De Minaur, is somewhat questionable. He's got Guerin, who won up in Newport and at the Hall of Fame. It was his first tour title. Khachanov, Arnaldi, solid players. But I don't think anybody here that really could threaten Alcaraz. I mean, De Minaur, if he's healthy and can get through. But both the 2 top seeds, Mary Jo, in this section, Hurkacz and De Minaur, both have injury issues.
Yeah, this is an open section. I feel like this is a big opportunity for someone to maybe sneak through there. Nice to see a couple of Americans in there. Matthew Forbes won Kalamazoo. That's why he got the wild card. So did Spida. He's been winning a lot of matches. But, yeah, no one here really stands out that you say for sure could be dominant enough and dangerous enough to beat Alcaraz.
I would think before Wimbledon, Hurkacz was on fire. He was playing so well. Then he did get injured. So the question always is, how is the injury with these players right now?
Yep.
But he normally, if he's healthy, he would give Alcaraz a good match.
I mean, here's the bottom line on the top half of the men's draw, okay? Because coming into the tournament, the 4 favorites, 3 of them are in the top half of the draw. The other one being Djokovic, the 2 seed. But Zverev, you kind of put in there, maybe similar to Medvedev. But the 2 favorites are Sinner and Alcaraz. And they're in the same half of the draw. And then Medvedev's the next guy, I would say, after Novak. So very interesting that these three ended up good. Overall, I would say very good news for Djokovic.
Yes.
Now he's only got to beat one of those guys
Exactly.
to win the tournament.
It's a break for him for sure, not to have Alcaraz in his section of the draw, have to play back-to-back potentially against Alcaraz and Sinner.
Yep.
If it goes 5 sets, you just never know. I think Novak's going to be happy with how the draw turned out.
Thrilled.
Yeah, and Chris, as we look at Sinner getting his first hits on a practice court right over your shoulder, he comes out, his first round will be against an American, Mackie McDonald, and then potentially Alex Mickelson, who would be another American in front of a huge American, pro-American crowd.
Mickelson's been playing unbelievable. They actually just played in Cincinnati, and he held his own. It was 7-5, 6-4 for Sinner. I would think Mickelson would have learned from that. He's playing in Winston-Salem this week, the young American. He's still in the tournament, quarterfinals. And for Sinner, he's having a hit with Grigor Dimitrov out right behind us. You know, can he?
And here comes Alcaraz, by the way.
boy.
They're going to be practicing next to each other. So that's
Sinner's,
a nice for the fans here.
Sinner's got a lot to overcome also
Yeah.
this week. He's going to be asked a lot of questions about the drugs that were found in his system. And, you know, we'll see how that pans out, how emotionally, you know, stable he is to compartmentalize at the same time.
Yeah, that's the report we were talking about earlier. If you haven't heard the news throughout the week, it was following a match in Indian Wells that they found traces of a banned supplement, steroid, in Yannick's system. It went through several independent evaluations, processes. No fault, no negligence was the ruling, but no one knew about this until this week. So the locker room is a tough place for Jannik Sinner right now. The press is a tough place for Jannik Sinner right now, and there's a lot on his shoulders, a lot to digest. Again, that's why he's just getting out to the Billie Jean King National Tennis Center today for the first time. This is Casper Ruud's quarter of the draw.
Well, I think it's good news here for the American Taylor Fritz. You can see at the bottom there, because I think if you were going to play one of the top seeds in the 4th round, you know, on a hard court here in New York, Casper Ruud would be one of the guys. I mean, he's solid, obviously, and he reached a final here in the past, but not playing quite as well this year. You've got some dangerous guys in there. The lefty Frenchman, Humbert, Bublik, well, we know how unpredictable he is. Berrettini is in there, could potentially play Fritz in round 2, which would be tricky, I think. But overall, I would think that Taylor Fritz would be pretty happy with this section of the draw.
Yeah, of all the Americans on the men's side, I think he got the best section of the draw to make a deep run.
I said it was a Ruud section of the draw, and it is, but it's Zverev's quarter of the draw on the bottom half where you'll find Djokovic as well. So let's continue with Zverev's quarter of the draw. There you see him down at the bottom. Rune is also in this. He'll open his first match against Nakashima, an American.
Rune's looking good. He's always a tough contender. But however, I think Alexander Zverev has been playing very well lately, and he seems to have his game together. His returns, his serve, he's serving very well. He's taking care of business. And I would have to not overlook Musetti, although he does play a U.S. player, Riley Opelka.
It's nice to see Riley back.
That could be an interesting match. Riley is so powerful, such a big serve. And Musetti's been playing, having a good summer as well. But I think Zverev looks pretty comfortable in this section.
Perricard.
Sorry, say it
The
again?
Frenchman, Perricard from Wimbledon.
Oh yeah, he's dangerous, man. He's playing Echeverry. He's a good player too. That's some real good matchup. By the way, Nakashima is going to give Rune a heck of a match. I think he's got a shot to upset him right there, the American from California. But all in all, absolutely, Zverev is a monster favorite in this section. He's playing great, solid year. Seems to have recovered from that injury he suffered. I thought he had a shot to win Wimbledon coming in, the way he was playing, looking good on grass.
Yep.
And if he's 100% healthy now, he could win this tournament too.
Let's go to Djokovic's quarter again. Djokovic in the bottom half of the draw is the 2 seed. Here's the top part of that quarter, Andrei Rublev. A couple of qualifiers. There is somebody playing today who's getting to the 2nd round of the U.S. Open.
There you go.
Yeah.
There's some tough opponents in this section, but Grigor Dimitrov, who's hitting with Sinner behind us, I mean, he's had a really, really good season. I like the way he's playing. I like his chances. Rublev's still trying to break through and get past the quarters of a major. Didn't have a great start to the season. Started to play a little bit better this summer. So I'd like to see that in the 4th round.
I tell you, I kind of like Lehechka here. I think Lehechka, you know, the young Czech, I mean, he's strong. And, you know, Rublev playing a little bit better lately, but I'm not a believer that he can make a huge run at the moment here. Dimitrov, too. You know, he seems to still get some injuries in the majors out of nowhere, though he's obviously played great this year. Lehechka, to me, is a guy in this section I got a little circle
Yeah, he
next to
beat
his
Medvedev
name.
in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Move on. This is where we then find Novak Djokovic at the bottom of the draw. Ben Shelton and Dominic Thiem right there at the top. Thiem retiring, got a wild card into the event, and he'll take on Shelton.
Oh, Shelton's coming in with a lot of momentum. Again, he's been playing well, and he's getting fired up. And every time he plays in New York in front of the American crowd, he loves the big court. You know, I don't know. I think Shelton with his lefty serve, I'd have to pick him.
Yeah, good play.
Win that match.
Francis in the
Tiafoe.
third round.
Yeah.
Shelton, Tiafoe. They played here last year, later in the tournament. So this is Novak's section of the draw. Popperin, look out for him. He won in Canada. Big serve, big forehand. He's
Remember,
given Djokovic a couple tough matches,
Yeah, he played
too.
Djokovic in Australia this year. Actually played him pretty tough there, but I don't see anybody in that little bottom section that can threaten Djokovic except for Popperin, and I don't know if Popperin can do it in best of 5, but anyway, Djokovic is, as we said earlier, got to be extremely happy with his section of the draw. And, well, of course, Kovacevic will play Tiafoe, All-American matchup there. I don't think Thiem's going to give Shelton that much trouble. He hasn't played well all year. But I'd like to see old Shelton-Tiafoe rematch. Last year they played in the
fireworks,
quarters.
huh?
Yeah,
This time third round to play Djokovic in the 4th round.
Yeah.
But honestly, it's an unfortunate draw for Tiafoe and Shelton. When we came on the air today, Patrick, we had the 5 U.S. players who are, you know, seeded 20 or higher, and kept saying, well, we have to see how the draw plays out. And it's an unfortunate
well,
draw.
Now we see. Right.
It's
Now we see.
unfortunate for Shelton or Tiafoe.
They're not all 5 going to make it. That we
Because
know.
only one is getting to the 4th round out of that small section there. So we'll give you a minute to digest that. That is the men's draw for the upcoming U.S. Open beginning on Monday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Our coverage will start at noon. Ready for the women's draw?
Let's go.
Well, Coco Gauff is the 3rd seed. The top seed, and that's where we'll begin, is Iga Swiatek. You saw that massive crowd 2 years ago. Remember when she won and all the people who flooded out to our set to see Iga Swiatek. She returns, now a 5-time major champion. She'll take on a qualifier in the 1st round.
Yeah, like a little bit like the men's side. A qualifier is going to play a big name right away, so that's pretty exciting. You know, the big question was, where was Coco going to land, which half? And she landed in Sabalenka's half. Then it was Pegula. Which quarter would she land? That's Iga's quarter. But this section, Chrissy, I mean, it looks pretty favorable for Iga. Andreeva's been playing really, really well. The 17-year-old. Ashlyn Kruger, the American, has also been playing well. That could be a great second-round match. Samsonova's dangerous with the big serve, but you have to like Iga to get through here.
Yeah, I think it's a comfortable, I mean, as much respect I have for Andreeva, you know, I think she's maybe a year and a half short of beating Iga Swiatek. I think she's gonna, you know, get up to the plate, and especially since she hasn't been doing well the last few weeks, I think she's more motivated than ever.
So continue with Swiatek's quarter. Here's the other section of that quarter. Straight to the bottom, Chrissy, Pegula and Rogers, but Raducanu and Kenin.
I love it. I love it. I remember Kenin is a major champion, won Australia. Raducanu won the U.S. Open. 2 major champions playing each other, former major in the 1st round. That's going to be a popcorn match, and I kind of have to. I kind of have to give the edge to Raducanu. I just think she's on the up and at 'em, and she's playing better. She seems to have her life sorted out, her coaching team sorted out, and she gets a lot of inspiration from playing here. But you look down at Jessica Pegula, again, Jessica will have to deal with one of, maybe if she beats Shelby Rogers, have to deal with one of those, which would be a tough match for her. And again, Jessie is in the same section as Iga, and Iga is 6-3 against Jessica Pegula.
Yeah, I think Jessica will like this section. Of course, Danielle Collins having the best season in her career, her last season. This will be her last U.S. Open. Can she finish strong? She has a tough 1st round against Caroline Dolehide, another American player. And Diana Schneider, don't forget about her. She has played well this season, the lefty. who played at North Carolina.
I think this is tough for Pegula. I mean, Shelby hasn't been playing as well as she has in the past. Remember, she had a big run at the U.S. Open here years ago. But this is tricky for Pegula. Then Raducanu, as you said, Chrissie's playing well. Collins, Dolehide, I'm interested in that. Another All-American matchup right there. But for Pegula to be in the same quarter as Swiatek, difficult for her. But again, as I said, I would like to see her try to get the crowd into it a little bit more than she normally does to give her a little extra, energy, because I think she could use it, and I think the crowd would get behind her.
Elena Rybakina, this is her quarter. Again, it's the top half of the draw, with Iga Swiatek being the 1 seed. And this trend continues because Rybakina is meeting a qualifier as well.
Yeah, I mean, if she's healthy, then you have to love her chances. But she's just really struggled with health issues this season. Had to pull out of Canada with bronchitis. We'll see how she's doing. Wozniacki's playing again. Played well here last year in her comeback. Garcia, you never know what you're going to get. She's a big, powerful player. And then towards the bottom there, Kalinskaya had to retire at Wimbledon, but she played really well at the beginning of the season.
We know how well Rybakina can play. She's won a major, but she's a mystery woman this whole year just because she's pulled out of so many tournaments with bronchitis, no Olympics, and then she had that loss against Layla. And, again, her ceiling is high. She's got a great serve. She moves well. She hits really, really well. But it's all about her health, isn't it, with her?
Right now it is.
She strikes me as like boom or bust. She could win the tournament if she gets hot because she's got such a big game. She could also lose to a qualifier if she lose first or second round. So I think as far as the favorites, which I put her as one of them, she, to me, is the most unpredictable.
Yeah, and sometimes it depends on which tournament it is.
Wimbledon is a good one for her. She had a big chance this year to win it again.
Exactly. She seems to find her health and find all good things when the tournaments are large. Continue. Here's the matchup we were waiting to see. Where did Naomi Osaka, a wild card who's won this event twice, where did she fall? Right there. Ostapenko, Osaka, buckle up.
That should be a night match, let me tell you.
Fireworks.
It's going to be a slugfest, that's for sure.
Ostapenko beat Swiatek here last year, so two huge hitters. I mean, can Osaka gain any momentum? If she wins that match, if she can upset Ostapenko, can we see a deep run? I think it's possible. This is Paolini's section of the draw.
Look who she's got. She's got another former champ here.
Exactly.
Amazing what happened in this section.
And Andreescu, and then Pliskova, former finalist. So a lot of good players in this one.
Naomi's been trying to find her form, and she says sometimes she doesn't feel like she's in her own body when she's out there playing. It's really been an adjustment for her since she's had a child. But remember, at the French Open, she had match point against Iga Swiatek. So, I mean, the tennis is there. It's just a matter of confidence. I mean, she's just got to pick a spot and swing, and move her feet. And she's trying to find that. Whenever you take a long period of time out, it always takes many, many months to get your form back. And she's hoping she can find it.
And I just think she's waiting. She's waiting for that one tournament to get some magic and get her game back.
Now let's move on to the bottom half of the women's draw. This is Coco Gauff's quarter, the defending champion. This is the top part of her quarter, so this section of Coco Gauff's quarter that she is not in. What jumps out at us?
Well, there's a lot of good players in this section. Krejcikova, the Wimbledon champion, to start things off. Badosa. That was a bit of a surprise. I think Badosa's the one to look out for.
Yeah,
I think she can win this section for sure. Azarenka has played so well here in years past. Sloane Stephens, a former champion. The question mark to me is always Sakkari. Why doesn't she do better? She struggles at majors the last few seasons in the early rounds. So, hopefully she can play a little bit better. But I think this is open, and Badosa is probably the informed player in this section.
And Coco Gauff also. Losing to Emma Navarro, she's out for a little revenge. I'm sure.
Yeah, this is that section, Chrissy, as you're talking about it. You see Navarro up top there and Coco at the bottom.
Right.
This is her section of the draw.
They could play in the fourth round.
Yeah, but I think she's probably looked at that match, and she's probably going to be talking to her coaches about, okay, what can I do differently against Navarro and against any of these players. But Svitolina, don't count her out. She always, she gets motivated. She's got a high-quality game as well.
Svitolina plays well in the majors, and I think that and I think she'll like the conditions here. extremely solid, very, very focused. Goff, obviously a huge favorite in this section. I think on a hard court, it's a better matchup for her against Navarro. Navarro was able to use the slice and a little bit more variety in her game on the grass. But I would love to see that. Coco, Emma, let's do it again.
Yeah, and I think considering that Coco's coming into this year's U.S. Open not that confident, not having played that well this summer, her draw is pretty good. I mean, she doesn't have that one big hitter that's going to rush her too much early on. She's going to have her, I think, a little time to work her way into the tournament. So I think she'll like this
I like
section.
the fact that she went home, too, after. She went home for a couple days to reset, to see her family, to be a normal girl, and maybe she's going to be charged up for this tournament.
We've yet to see Emma Navarro around the grounds or Svitolina because they're still playing a tournament in Mexico. So
Mexico,
that's an interesting choice for a couple of well-seated and now well-situated players. This is Sabalenka's quarter. This is the bottom half. This is the section of the draw, again, that she is not in. But, Chrissie, the gold medalist is in Qin Wenjing.
Qin Wenjing, I mean, she is up and coming, and she is full of confidence right now. And but I think she's playing another player who's full of confidence, and Amanda Anisimova was out for her mental health, was out for injuries, and now has come back pretty strong and playing very, very well. And I'm also looking down
Donna Vekic.
To Donna Vekic, another one that's just had an unbelievable year this year. Just came out of nowhere. She was thinking about retiring at the French Open, and all of a sudden, she's doing well at the Olympics. She's doing well at Wimbledon, and a lot of surprises are going to be in this section.
Yeah, I think Anisimova can upset Zheng. I think that's upset alert.
Good. Okay.
Where we find Sabalenka, last year's finalist, the reigning Australian Open champ. She too will play a qualifier as we continue with the theme. But Madison Keys, who lost in the semis, left here in tears last year, left in tears from Wimbledon with a hamstring injury. But it's great to see she's in the Open. What do you make of
healthy?
The draw?
And she's healthy too.
Good to
I
hear.
actually talked to her. She's healthy and she's raring to go. My question mark is Ons Jabeur. I think that's everybody's question mark. We know how well she can play. She's got every shot in the book, but really has not had a good summer, but is capable of playing some very, very good shots.
She's also been injured, had a knee injury. She got to the finals here a few years back. That's a tough first round against Kudermetova. It's a little hot and cold. That could be tricky. If Madison's healthy and she's playing as well as we saw her play this season, then I like her section. I like her getting through to play Sabalenka, but I think Sabalenka, after winning in Cincy, she is the heavy favorite to go all the way, right?
Yeah, well, to me, she's a huge favorite in that section. And you see her out here now with Coco. Keys, if she plays well, to me, is the only player in that section that's even got a shot. I don't think Jabeur can handle the firepower of Sabalenka at the moment. But to me, the biggest thing about the women's draw just generally is so many great players unseeded, right? Ex-champions. And, Anisimova is another one. She's a, floater and matching up against high seeds.
Yeah.
And, so the depth we know has gotten better in the women's game. And we've seen that in the men's game as well. But there's more of those floaters in the women's game now because of injury, because Naomi gave birth, all the extracurricular things that have happened on the women's side. And you see these incredible matchups in maybe the first or second round, which rarely happened in the past as much as it seems to happen now in the women's game. Chrissie, please explain.
Yeah, I don't.
You're looking at me like, be quiet, Patrick. We've heard this before.
No, it's true. It's true. I mean, the thing is, I've realized in the history of the game that whenever a player has an injury, for some reason they always come back better. They've been away from the game, they appreciate it more, whether they're fitter when they come back, but they have that motivation, they always play better, so you can never count them out.
Sometimes, for sure, but then you have other times with like Andreescu and Pliskova, they haven't really found their game again. So I think it can go either way. I think like what Patrick said is so true. We have so many former champions and former finalists of majors that are unseeded. So you're going up against someone that has experience, that's been there before, and that's looking to recreate their own magic and see if they can, get back to the top of the women's game. So there's some fascinating matches out there right from the start.
And it also, you have to realize the U.S. Open is the last major of the year. And I don't know about you guys, not you, Chris.
It's my last
don't
major
get upset.
event.
Don't get upset.
Beforehand, are you kidding me?
But I
I'm
don't know
telling
about
you.
you guys, but I mean, I was really starting to get tired during the U.S. Open because we only have a month and a half off.
Oh,
you
she
know,
was
to
like winning
train.
every match.
You only
so,
won it
know,
like 7
No,
times.
but
I know.
I was starting to get tired. I mean, your body mentally, emotionally, and the only advantage that the Americans have is the crowd, because then they get the energy going just by playing in
That's
front
what
of
I
them.
wanted to ask you all about as we watch Coco and Aryna Sabalenka practice Arthur Ashe Stadium. All the fans are there. This is amazing, a rematch of last year's final, and they're practicing against each other again, one of those crazy fun anomalies that only happens in tennis. But last year, the crowd in that final helped change the outcome. Favor Coco. That's an intangible that players have to
Wow.
realize
Yeah.
and learn
Yeah.
to deal with. And Sabalenka learned a tough lesson last year. How
Absolutely.
much better positioned is she for having gone through that?
better. I mean, she went through it, so she knows what's coming. But it wasn't just the final. Coco had a lot of tough matches to get to the final that she won in 3 sets, and the crowd helped her. The
Yes.
crowd gave her the energy and gave her that boost and that confidence that she needed. They're going to need to do it again this year, right from the start.